Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round number 5 here in One Hub Racing here for P2 as we take in the fantastic Japanese Grand Prix as we head to the Suzuka circuit. My name is, of course, Everybody Mike, and we'll be taking you through the action as always on a Sunday evening, and joined alongside me in the commentary box as always is Mr. Omi. Omi, how you doing, mate?
Hello Mike, hello everyone, doing absolutely incredible, really looking forward to this race coming up here at Suzuka. Going to be an absolute cracker. We've had a 1 week break, but it's back, but it's time once again for some brilliant racing to come our way.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course we have been gone for a week, so all the drivers have had plenty of time to put practice in around this track, and of course it is the only figure of 8 circuit on the F1 calendar. The 5.8 kilometer track in length, and that is 3.6 miles as well. 18 corners as we have 8 to the left and 10 to the right, and the tyre compounds are of course the C3 soft tyres, C2 mediums, and of course the C1 hard compound tyres, as well as your intermediate and wet weather tyres. And so many iconic races in real life F1 around this circuit, but also in terms of the online world as well. We've seen so many fantastic races around this track also, and especially some cheeky side-by-side battles through those S's in that first sector.
Yeah, always very, very exciting to the first sector, and really every single move you make around the circuit can really be is really a brave one. So it's a bit of a challenging circuit to overtake, but also if you do make the moves, it's a very, very good one. And also some drivers might risk it into 130 yard and carry it into the last chicane as well. So a lot of battles around the circuit you do see, and drivers obviously having to go for those very audacious moves as well, because you have to make the moves as soon as possible around this circuit, as it is a bit of a tough one to overtake. So you've got to be bold with all of your overtakes.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to be bold, you got to be brave around the track, as unforgiving as Suzuka. Of course, we managed to catch up with Specialist in the press conference this week. Obviously, he was asked, saying that you've had some really consistent results so far this season. Fair play. How are you feeling this season and this game compared to this time last season? So we're asking the difference between last season's game and of course this season's. And the Specialist responding saying he's been really surprised with his results, and he's been feeling very good this season. If he can keep picking up some decent points, he'll be happy enough. Maybe a podium if his luck is really in. He much prefers this game to drive compared to the last one, and he feels a lot more confident. So the Specialist, obviously, he's had some fantastic results, and he's been a guy that comes from the back in qualifying to really pick up big points in the race, and obviously that goes to show.
Yeah, absolutely. Was really, really interesting to hear from him there as well, as obviously there's been a big change from F122 to F123. A lot of drivers enjoying it more in the field.
Yeah, absolutely. The car's a little bit easier to keep control of, and the drive around these circuits. And of course, we have managed to get a word in from a couple of drivers and how they're feeling about tonight's race. And I know you have a couple ready, and so why don't we get into some of the pre-race interviews from some of the drivers out there tonight?
Always a very, very interesting one to see how the drivers are feeling. And obviously JM being asked about how did he spend his time away, obviously with the week break, and he responded with quite a lot of other games. Basically he's been playing quite a lot of other games, a tiny bit away from F123, but enjoying himself on other games. And also he said, I only did around an hour of practice last week where I spent most of the time spinning into the gravel. So let's hope that he doesn't spin into the gravel today and has a very, very good race as well. And then Senna saying as well, to the week break was nice, just clearing my head before starting the grind again. I'm more than ready to start again. Exactly like what we like to hear from all of these drivers, ready to go and ready to race, and all of them wanting obviously to score a very, very good result. And Senna also said, I like well, he was asked that what do you think of the circuit, and he said, I like it a lot more in this game, but it's still a very difficult circuit, so staying out of trouble will be one of the most important things. And also obviously first of all in qualifying, the big challenge that you don't lose it on your own as well, and then we also have to mention trying to defend and make overtakes as well. Very, very, very crucial is that. And then we also did have Apex saying car events not touch the game until race day, I think it'll be. So it looks like he did do some practice today, but he has not really touched the game too much. So quite a few drivers obviously just staying a tiny bit away from the game, enjoying their little holiday, well, 1 week break as well. But Mike, I think we might be able to continue more of these in a bit, but we might need to actually move over quite soon because it looks like it is raining. So these might be the last few laps. If it continues to rain in the whole of qualifying, these could actually be the last few laps that the drivers get, and it could basically decide the grid.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. As we are gonna just move swiftly over. Obviously, we'll move over to the action just to make sure that we can get some of these dry tyres in before going back to run you through how the championship standings are looking, and of course what is going on out there. As you can see, it is raining out there on track. The raindrops have fallen here at Suzuka, and this is always a possibility around this track. And with the curbs already being lethal enough as it is, the rain is definitely going to be a bigger hindrance to these guys.
Yeah, the rain definitely going to be really affecting them. So going to be really exciting to see how this one goes. For all of these drivers trying to keep it on the road is going to be a big challenge for them. You already have Red Matt and Speed 19, so both McLaren deciding the intermediates, but it's Jonas, the first driver, who is attacking the circuit. So let's see if he's able to get a lap in on the slicks.
Yeah, of course, coming through the hairpin right now, looking for good traction on the exit as he runs down in towards Spoon Curve. There is a McLaren out there, and I believe that is either, that's Red Mat on an outlap up ahead, but obviously through Spoon now, you can see the rain falling, and it's going to continue to fall. It's going to get wetter and wetter out there as we go now to the middle sector split, and we're going to see what Jonas is looking like in the middle sector. It's a 12.1, so it's already a couple of seconds off where it is in the drive through 130R. Now into the Casio triangle, breaking down. These curves are going to be so lethal. The traction is going to be non-existent, but coming to the line, Jonas is going to do a 29 flat, and of course he had the best of the conditions, so we should be seeing times a little bit of that, as Oshin actually does a 28.4.
He was able to find much more of a cleaner lap. Lawrence over the line, he goes second position as well, but all of the laps are going to start really coming in as well. Key making his way now through the final chicane. Senal goes only 14,000 behind Oshin, and now let's see what he can do as he makes his way all the way to the line in the Haas. He goes ahead of his Haas teammate right now, so he's in 6th.
Yep, the marker goes up into P3 as well. Obviously, the rain is causing a little bit of issues for these guys. As Apex to the line, 29.1. I believe we just saw Key off there in the grass, touching a little bit too much of the curb and losing control of the car. 4 drivers yet to set a lap time. One of them is Kamke. Remember, that's a bit of traffic coming into the hairpin, and Kamke does not want to be dealing with this, as Knighton retires in the pit lane. And also another thing that we need to bring up is, of course, the engine penalties as well, because yeah, we've got a few drivers that are taking engine penalties. If I can just get that information up in just a moment, I can run you through all of that. So here in P2 tonight is, of course, Red Mat and Knighton both taking the engine, they're changing engine, so they're going to be starting from the back, which is of course why Knighton has retired from the session and Red Mat is in the pits right now. As we've got Kamke crossing the line, 29.2, and this track is falling away in terms of grip. Obviously, Specialist, the last man to get a lap time on the board, and you may be noticing a few name changes there. Obviously on Karen Rules, Specialist, and of course Quinn, formerly of RDR, which of course the team has shut down, so yeah, the RDR name is now gone from the grid.
Yeah, absolutely gone from the grid. Sadly, so everyone going into different teams, so quite a few changes in there as well. But yeah, all of them now diving it into the pits, and that's really it for most of their session, unless it does dry up later on. If it does stop raining, maybe there's a little slight chance, but right now the rain's come down, so there won't be any improvements for the time being.
Yeah, and of course with the track being getting worse, we're probably not going to be seeing any any improved time, so we will transition back to the main screen, and we'll let you know if the track continues to dry, because of course not only do we have a couple of engine penalties in our here tonight, we do also have the rivalries as well between Knighton and Rydog, which has been brewing for some time. So we tried to get a word off the pair of them, and unfortunately neither of them responding. So it's like, is there a bit more to that rivalry than we actually realise? Neither of them wanted to talk about the other.
Yeah, so trying not to cause too much tension there as well. Trying to avoid some questions there as well.
Yeah, and obviously looking at the standings as well. If I just get them up in just a moment, and there we go. So we have, yeah, we get on the P2. So we have JM currently leading the way in the championship on 70 points. Good result for him last week, and he has a 25-point gap to second place man Cam K Mum. Managing to get up into P2 last time out with a fantastic result. Red Mac currently P3 in the standings on 40 points, tied with ERT Senna, who is also on 40 points in 4th place, and Lawrence in 5th on 39 points, 38 points for Specialist, Key on 34 points in 7th place, the Matter are in 8th on 33 points, 28 points for Jonas in 9th, and Oshin rounding out the top 10 in on 26 points. And obviously outside of that, you've got Westy and Miami, who are two very quick drivers, but yet to get themselves like really into the season so far. Ali B's been a driver that is capable of some good results. Same with Cam Rhodes, managed to get a P4 last time out in Silverstone, which of course was a fantastic race, and we saw Oshin take a victory ahead of JM at that circuit as well. So make sure you guys go back and check that one out. Quinn currently on 13 points down in 15th. Apex on 13 points as well in 16th. Jordan on 9 points down in 17th. Then we got Rydog on 5 points in 18th, and then two drivers yet to get a point on the board is of course Gazman and Knighton. And of course looking at the constructors as well, the Alpha Tauris lead the way on 84 points and 71 points for the Red Bull Racing team, and of course same points for the Alfa Romeo F1 team as well. So very close in terms of the constructors at the top end, and of course you've got Williams there on 68 points, and 4 constructors incredibly close in terms of points there.
Yeah, absolutely. We love it when it is really, really close. Means that every single point matters, and that all teams do really have to work together as well. Obviously, last time out in Brazil, if you remember, then we saw a lot of contact between teammates, didn't we? But then the Red Bulls absolutely worked together. So it was really interesting to see a lot of teams making contact, but the Red Bulls were really good and they worked together very well last time.
Yeah, absolutely. I do apologise. I think I said Silverstone, Britain earlier was the last race. Of course, that is not the case. It was Brazil. So my apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, also continuing up with the rest of the constructors, you got Mercedes AMG Petronas on 52 points in 5th place, 48 points for the Haas F1 team. The McLaren F1 team in 7th place on 40 points, 23 points for the Alpines in 8th. The Scuderia Ferraris all the way down in 9th place on 22 points, and their team owners will not be very happy with that whatsoever, as Ferrari, a team very prestigious, and going to be looking to try and get themselves as high up the order as possible. And of course down in 10th place is the last team remaining, and of course that is the Aston Martin F1 team. So yeah, I mean, Ferrari possibly going to be thinking about thinking about trying to do something to change it up, and will it work? I don't know, but yeah, Ferrari all the way down there in P9, which is not great for them.
Yeah, not great for a team like that. Quickly, I'll update on the circuit, what has been going on. Well, some drivers have tried to go out there, and and every driver I've been riding on board with has spun, gone into the gravel, and about half of the field has retired. So I think we'll call it there with what's happening on the circuit. So just a little update there for you. About half of the field has already retired. It doesn't look like we're going to get any improvements. The rain isn't really easing. All the drivers who've tried out on the circuit have just spun or gone into the gravel.
Yeah, of course, once it rains early on, it does get a little bit tricky, but of course, as things continue on, the track does develop one way or another. Maybe it will get a bit drier towards the end. I mean, we don't know. We still got about 6 minutes left here in qualifying, but judging from everyone at the moment currently in the pit lane or have retired from the session, it doesn't look too great.
Yeah, it doesn't look too great. They've probably seen a bit of the weather forecast and been like, nope, it doesn't look like we are going to be getting any kind of improvement off the circuit. Some drivers who weren't able to probably get a good lap in right at the start have gone out there, tried, and it just hasn't worked. All that's been happening is spins and going into the gravel, as I mentioned. So they're all going back into the pits. Some more drivers retiring like Senna right now, but Key and Camp still out actually on an outlap, so they're still trying to find some kind of improvement on this racetrack on those intermediates, and Key is actually on the full wets as well.
Yeah, now this is going to be an interesting one, because obviously, actually, we will go back to. We'll go back to the action on track. In the meantime, as you can see, the rain has gotten heavier out there on track, and obviously the times that we saw on the first runs are the times that are standing right now. This could be very interesting, because if there's wet weather in the race, Calm and everyone that hasn't retired thus far get a little bit of an eye in on the intermediates.
Yep, absolutely they do. So obviously they get to drive a tiny bit around in these conditions. If it was to rain in the race, then a bit of perfect practice for them as well in these wet conditions. Because I'll tell you this, most drivers don't really practice for the wet conditions, obviously, mostly just for the dry. So yeah, a bit of good practice just in case if it does rain, and off the road goes Key, and he'll reverse and continue going.
Yeah, I mean, the issue for Key is that he's 100%. It's not anywhere near the wet compound tyre, so
Yeah.
he's just overheating those at the moment, and no grip whatsoever on them. You've got Gazaman out there on the set of Inters, obviously down in P12. He's not going to be able to find time to improve and get himself up the order, but as mentioned, if it is going to be a wet race or changeable conditions, as exploring an alternative line through 130R there was Gazaman. But actually, Joe, what we'll do, we'll take you on a full lap here. Never mind, Gazman comes back into the pits. I was going to say, we'll take on a full lap, and because obviously, immediately as soon as qualifying started, we had to jump in to make sure that we just got the initial lap times that came in. And of course, with that, we potentially are looking at the end of the session. Everyone is in the pits, as you got Speed Key there taking out the barrier on his way into the pits, and Quinn retiring from the session. He's done for this, and we have 6 drivers who are either going to make us wait 3 minutes, or they are going to allow us to proceed a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I remember from the One Hub retro race from the 2019 one, obviously, we did going back to Germany, a bit of a classic race. That was a few months ago. Really did actually enjoy that one as well. A lot of drivers coming in that one, and also I got to pick the weather for that. So obviously I was cool with the weather, but it was full qualifying in Q1. Well, basically kind of like this, just the 18 minutes in Q1. And obviously it started raining, and I had to sit through the remaining part of it. And I was kind of a bit annoyed because I'd chosen that weather, but it gave us a brilliant Q3, so I kind of made up for it as well. As obviously we couldn't do another season on F122 due to lost interest from the drivers, and it was a correct decision. Instead, we got to do quite a lot of fun events, and here we are back on F123, better than ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the drivers definitely seem to be enjoying this game a lot more compared to previous incarnations of the F1 game, which is fantastic to see as everything continues to improve. Obviously, there's definitely still some things here and there that do need improvements, but over time we should be seeing those issues ironed out. We do have specialists out there on the set of Inters and Key also out there on the set of Inter, so maybe I'll actually be able to take you through a lap with one of the drivers around the Suzuka International Racecourse. It's actually called the racecourse, not the circuit, which is kind of mad when you actually think about it.
Yeah, absolutely is. But let's hope Specialist keeps it out on the circuit, gives us a tiny bit of last entertainment as well in this qualifying session. As he heads towards the 130 now. So I think he'll definitely be looking to improve places in the race. Obviously, the weather catching him out there. But let's see if he's going to stick it out on the racetrack. Get a bit of running. Yes, he is. So he's just going to continue on.
And I'll take you through a lap now of Suzuka. So running down in towards turn number 1. This will be an area where DRS would be activated as you try to hook up turn 1 to get the best entry into turn 2. All about traction on the exit of turn 2 as you come into the S's as you climb up the hill. These curves can be unforgiving in the dry, in the wet. They are even more lethal. As you come to the top of the hill now, the left-hander of Dunlop curve as you climb up the hill over the crest to the first sector split. And now you look at that 50-meter board, turn in for the first of the Deckners, and of course breaking down for the second Deckner. Coming in underneath the bridge at the only figure of 8 circuit on the F1 calendar as we head towards the hairpin. Again, another area where traction is crucial, and of course very different lines can be made around that corner in particular, but good traction out there from Specialists on these intermediates as we head towards Spoon Curve, where, if you remember, a few years ago, Sebastian Vettel and Verstappen coming together there, and Vettel going around. But through Spoon goes Specialist as we head up now towards the middle sector split and towards 130R. In the dry, flat out. In the wet, flat out from Specialist. And now breaking down into the Casio Triangle. Of course, taking a little bit of the curve on the entry for both corners and getting a good exit there through the final corner, crosses the line, and it is a 36.2 around the Suzuka circuit. And of course, that is not going to improve his time because obviously we had dry conditions at the start of this race. As you got Key, the last man to cross the line, and he is absolutely Tokyo drifting it through the Casio Triangle there.
Yeah, a bit of fun there for him as he makes his way through right at the end as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll run you through the order one more time in just a moment. So essentially it was a one-shot qualifying here at Suzuka, and it was Oshin who takes pole position just ahead of Senna, who joins him on the front row. Only 14 thousandths between them, and 23 thousandths between Mada and Oshin as well. Mada in P3 with Lawrence in P4, JM in P5, Jonas in P6, Apex in 7th with Key in 8th, Cam K, Mum in 9th, and Cam Rules in 10th. So we got the battle of the cams on the 5th row there. Ali being in 11th, Gazaman in 12th, Specialist in 13th, Quinn in 14th, and of course Redman and Knighton both serving their grid penalties after an engine change coming into tonight's race.
Absolutely. So they're going to be looking to make up places in this race. They're going to have to be bold with some moves. As we take a look, as we look in the pit lane right now, seems dry right now as it stands, but it can easily change when we get to the end of the race, so anything is possible, but we can tell you that the start will be dry.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, while we are waiting, we can go ahead and find our sponsors, obviously, at Next Level Racing there with some fantastic prices available for the drivers across all of the tiers. Aztec, another one of our fantastic sponsors, along with Pure Sim Gear and Mystery Sim Box. And of course to our partners at Vespertwin, through ERT, as well as Sim Grid as well, for our partners here. And of course we've got to keep an eye and we've got to keep reminding everyone, ERT's Go and Get Tough award as well. That is definitely one that's going to be up for grabs. Attend all the races and of course complete all interviews over the course of the season. You'll be in for a fantastic prize there. So that is a shout out to all our sponsors and partners here at One Hub Racing. And yeah, we're waiting now to try and get ourselves back into the race itself. But obviously, looking at qualifying, very interesting because it was only a one-shot quali. It was just an absolute roll of the dice, and try and get a lap in and see where you ended up. And with that, it's gonna be interesting to see how the race goes, because around this circuit, overtaking opportunities are few and far in between. Obviously, the DRS down into turn 1, a great overtaking opportunity. Obviously, the hairpin turn 11, and of course the Casio Triangle. They're the only three main overtaking opportunities. Me personally, I am a kind of guy who likes a bit of action in the S's, and I know everyone else likes a bit of action in the S's as well. So hopefully we get to see a little bit of that tonight, as everyone is now just beginning the formation lap. But before we go any further and before we go back to the action, I'm going to ask you for your podium prediction.
That is a bit of a hard one. That's a bit of a hard one. How about you go first? Right, okay, I'll do this one first. And then right, let me think. This is gonna be a bit of a hard one, but I'm gonna say, okay, this is what I'll go for. I'll go for the Madder first, I'll go for Jonas second, and I'll go for Cam K Mum third. So I've gone very, very brave, I have to say, with mine, and I've just picked anyone, because remember, this is a mixed up grid as well, and the session was done, and also that one shot little bit we had was also done in a bit when it was raining on the circuit. So it's a very mixed up grid, so anything is possible, and the order will change very quickly.
Yeah, honestly, in terms of the race win, I'm gonna go with the Mata for the race win. I'm going to go JM second. Obviously, championship leader. I think he'll do well, obviously starting from P5. And for the podium, I don't want to be boring and say Oshin and just have the top or center and have like two drivers on the top three. But in terms of the medium runners, I'm looking around, and honestly, Specialist is a driver that does come through and finish well in the races, so the Specialist could definitely get himself up there. So in fact, I'm actually going to take Specialist for the final spot on the podium.
Interesting. Really, really gonna be interesting though to find out how this one plays out and how our predictions go as well. But they'll start making their way out of the chicane, and lining up on the grid will be Senna with the inside line heading down into turn number 1. So watch the battle there. As well, heading down towards turn 1, and then also it's going to be really, really interesting to see all of the rest of the drivers in the field, and let's hope they all make it through cleanly and we have a very exciting opening lap and race.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, as the drivers now come onto the start-finish straight to take their grid positions, the start is going to be so crucial for these guys, especially if you're starting on the medium compound tires, because you're just going to get jumped early on with the softs in that, unless you get a fantastic launch off the line. And the launch is everything in terms of making a position down in towards turn 1 or losing a position in towards turn number 1. But we are going to wait now. Both McLaren starting from the back of the grid after serving their engine penalties. Will they get themselves up the order? Time will tell. as we should be getting ready to go to those 5 red lights in just a moment, as the final grid position has been taken up. We are still waiting. Ali gets disqualified for parking in a dangerous location, so I think this may end up being a full restart here.
Yeah, we've had a bit of chaos now. So we're all standing on the grid right now. I'll keep an eye on the chat as well for all of you. But we're just waiting right now to see what is going to happen with this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to have a restart. Everyone's in their grid positions, and yeah, I think we're going to get a confirmation of a restart in just a moment. So what we can do is try and make sure that we get a screenshot of the qualifying results ready to send them over to make sure that we can get the lobby reset up as quickly as possible. So what we'll do, we'll wait to see, and yeah, there we go, confirmation of a restart, as apparently it says waiting for drivers, but yeah, I'm gonna leave the session, and let's go. We'll get the qualifying results over to our lobby host as quickly as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Apologies to everyone that you're going to have to wait a tiny bit longer for the action that will be coming our way soon, but you're just going to have to wait a tiny bit longer for it. But when it does come, it'll be worthwhile. So much intrigue going into this one, so much possibilities. Really, anything is definitely possible. And as we mentioned, it was a one shot, but in that one shot, it did also have some rain as well, spinning it down. So drivers sliding all over the road. So we have a bit of a mixed up grid at the same time as well. So definitely, it's a guaranteed cracker of a race. A lot of action will be coming our way, as Mike also just sending the grid as well in the chat, so everyone, the lobby host Quinn can get all of that sorted and make sure that everyone is in the correct position before we go racing.
Yeah, and of course I would like to remind everyone as well to make sure that you guys have your setups loaded as well, because that could be a very crucial thing indeed. And having your setups, not loading your setup can definitely be a major issue.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of reporting the weather as well. Weather was clear, light cloud, overcast I should say, so definitely a bit interesting, possibly some rain at the end, but gonna be interesting to see what weather we get given as well. But Japan, now around this circuit, obviously so much action we usually do get, and the main reason is because drivers just go for moves at places you don't usually expect them, because obviously it is hard to overtake, but we still manage to get a lot of action at this circuit just because of how bold they are. And then sometimes you might get a bit of drama with some contact, but we're gonna hope that we just get a lot of overtaking without a lot of contact.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course around this circuit, it's one of those tracks where you can go for overtakes, but every single overtake is a risk, and sometimes you have to weigh up the risk versus the reward. And it can also be a bit of a DRS train around this track as well. But if you are in a DRS train, making mistakes is one thing that you can't afford to let happen, because as I mentioned at the start, the curves in the S's in the first sector, very lethal. Obviously, as you climb up the hill through Dunlop curve, you clip that inside, and now you're going to be losing the back end. Or if you get on the throttle a little bit too much, you might lose the back end as you climb up that hill. Obviously, the Degnas as well, very easy to lose it on traction there. And I believe we now have the invites going out, but we have to wait for the grid to be set as well. But yeah, I mean, so many places where you can lose the car, which is obviously going to be a key factor in this race. And with that as well, like, just being alert on this track is priority over everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Always very, very crucial being alert at all times. And also, if you are in that GRS train, which you will definitely be as well at some point, if you're not really the leader, then you've got to kind of force some overtakes. You've got to force some moves as well. Sometimes just maybe use it if you look close, if you've got a good exit, the driver ahead possibly hasn't got the best of exit, and if you use a bit of ERS, you might be able to make the move. Then possibly could be good if you do go for it as well. And that's one of the ways you make moves at this circuit in a bit of a DRS train, and really any other circuit in a bit of a DRS train. You gotta make sure you get a good exit, use a bit of ERS, and then you definitely have to be close if you want to make those kind of overtakes though. But other than that, mostly a lot of changes we're going to see in the pit stops, and where obviously the drivers have to pit 2 times in a race. If you're not familiar with the One Hub rules, every race 2 stops are mandatory, so I think we'll see a lot of changes in the pit stop as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course the 2-stop mandatory is definitely going to be interesting. I mean, we're definitely going to see 2 sets of softs and a set of mediums around this track, in my opinion. Softs, to my knowledge, you can take the softs around 8 laps before they really start to fall away massively, and the mediums you can take around, I want to say around 13 laps, so you'll do half the race on mediums. But of course, with the options now for the 2-stop, there's a bit of a variable, a bit of a strategy that does come into play, and is, do you go for the undercut? The undercut is actually quite good around here, but also you can equally get overcut pretty easy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So gonna be interesting to see how the strategy goes out, because you obviously don't want to get undercutted. You might have better tires later on, but you just gotta time it right. Do you think you'll have enough of the tire? Do you think you'll have enough tires to make those moves right at the end? So it's gonna be super exciting to see how all of the drivers play it out in this one. And also, if we do get any kind of last lap shootout or anything in this race, wouldn't be surprised if we do so, because with how close the field is. But we're just getting everything ready, and then we should be getting going soon for you. Apologies you had to once again wait a tiny bit, but it's going to be worthwhile because a lot of action is coming your way, as we said. But we should be getting underway any second now.
Potentially, obviously, we got all 16 drivers back in, and it's now about putting them in their grid positions, and then we'll be going racing once again. One thing I will ask you though is your opinions on Suzuka as a track to go racing at, as well as a track to commentate over. Because this, I can't lie, Suzuka has always been my favourite track in terms of racing, and it is the place where I managed to get my first podium, my first win. And you know, my most dominant win has been Suzuka as well, and also my favourite race I've ever commentated has been Suzuka. So my affinity for this track is insanely high, and I want to know what your affinity is around here.
Well, obviously I don't drive at all, so I can't really comment on that factor, but commentating over it, it's actually a circuit that I haven't actually been able to commentate too much in league racing. Actually, I haven't been able to commentate it too much, but when I have, it's really been cracking racing all throughout. So yeah, I am happy that I've been commentating over the circuit a bit more lately as well. It's a very good circuit, a lot of action. Love when the drivers make some bold moves, especially if they're side by side into 130R as well. Always love a bit of action around this circuit. So yeah, really do enjoy it. I do enjoy quite a lot of circuits. I don't know where I'd rank this one, but yeah, I really do enjoy this one to commentate and always look forward to it.
Well, I mean, for me, obviously, I mean, I don't race anymore. I used to race back in the day, but like, for me, like, when it came to this track, I always looked at this as a proper driver's track. Do you know, like yeah. Monaco, like the way people look at Monaco, like that's a driver's circuit right there. That's the way I look at Suzuka. It's a proper driver's circuit. Like, it's all about how much confidence you have around the track. Because that first sector, I mean, we've mentioned it a couple of times already. That first sector, though, you gotta have high confidence in it to really attack those corners, and you can gain a lot of time just in sector 1 alone, and that actually is key to your lap around here. That sector 1, if your confidence is flowing through sector 1, you are going to be on course for a fantastic result, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, indeed. But Gonna be exciting to see how this one plays out. Obviously, the drivers have had 1 week rest, of a bit more time if anyone has touched the game in that extra week. Then they've obviously had a bit of time to practice. Some drivers have actually practiced circuits that are also coming up and getting some baseline setups in there as well. So a lot of preparation goes into these one-hop races for the drivers. A lot of them prepare quite a bit as well, and also getting a bit of an idea of the races that are coming up is also a very good idea, and getting some setups ready as well, so you're not having to look for the good one, and instead you're really just being able to practice and practice a tiny bit more as well. So yeah, a lot of drivers obviously getting a tiny bit more practice in and taking the extra week to practice, and this is one of the circuits where you do need a bit of the extra practice as well, a really challenging one. So a lot of drivers would have practiced around here if they obviously were playing the game. So it's going to be interesting to see who is going to be really quick in the race, because once again we don't really have too much of an idea on pace. Yes, obviously it was mostly about who was first drivers on the circuit, so we don't have too much of an idea because the rain did start hitting. However, we are going to be getting underway, so all of those answers will be coming your way very shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I believe we may be going straight to the 5 red lights instead of doing the formation lap for a second time, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, just over 10 seconds to go before we head back into the session. Obviously, podium predictions we want to hear your guys' podium predictions as well, so make sure you get that in chat as well as we head back to the action on track. And yeah, let us know in the chat your podium predictions and how you guys are feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to know who you're backing, and who do you think will be doing very well, and just your predictions in general about which drivers you think will be finishing in the higher top spots in this one. But as you mentioned, don't think we'll be getting a formation lap because we already completed it, and I think we might be getting straight into the race.
Yep, potentially straight into the race. And of course, if you guys also want to check out, make sure you check out the Twitch channel as well, because obviously we did have P3 on. I believe P3 has come to an end now, and in about 20 minutes time, P1 will be getting underway, the top tier. And of course, as you may have seen when we was looking at the track in question, 2 drivers last season currently racing in P1. One, J. Cole, the second, Casper, both former winners around here. Casper, last season's P2 winner around Suzuka, and of course J. Cole, the previous winner in P1 as well. So those 2 drivers going toe to toe, definitely going to be something to keep an eye on as well. If you check out P1 on Twitch in around about, I want to say around about 40 minutes or so, as they'll be coming to the end of qualifying around that time.
Yeah, absolutely. So gonna be really interesting though to see how their race goes. But obviously we're about to get our one underway very shortly here in the P2 tier as well. So let's see how this race goes. We're hoping obviously for some clean racing. We're hoping for some action-packed racing as well. And always very tight on the opening lap of the race. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all goes on that opening lap as well. And obviously the opening lap being one of the best overtaking chances to get a few places as well, and then you could find yourself in a very good position if you can gain a few places. So the first lap, some drivers might be going for some more overtakes because you can pick up a few places very easily on the opening lap.
Yeah, and that's the main thing around Suzuka is timing your overtakes. And in terms of the start now, that's one of the better opportunities to get some overtakes done nice and early on. Try and get yourself up the order. As mentioned, a couple of corners really that overtaking opportunities are, of course. Well, actually, we are going to be going on a formation lap. I thought we were going to be skipping it, but we are on a formation lap. Yeah, but as I was going to say, a couple of overtaking opportunities, as previously mentioned. Obviously, the hairpin being a big one, and of course, on the run into the Casio Triangle, tuck into the slipstream, draw alongside them through 130R, and then have a look around the outside or down the inside into the Casio Triangle.
Absolutely, and actually, Mike, we've had a lot of changes tyre-wise, so a lot of drivers now have gone a tiny bit different. So we're going to get a very mixed start as well, once again, with a lot of drivers on the mediums, possibly falling down to drivers on the soft on the attack. So going to be really exciting to see how that goes at the start of the race.
Also, a little bit of a weather change as well, because it's a lot more overcast than what it was in the initial race. So I'm wondering if the reason why it's overcast is because we were going to be getting rain at the end of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. So more for the drivers to think about. A lot of them going different now with the tyres as well. As we are going to be getting underway very soon. The drivers making their way to Spoon Curve, being led by Oshin, but he'll be surely coming under some kind of pressure on the opening lap by Senna and the Mada. And then possibly Lawrence might be under pressure by JM and Jonas. They're going to be drivers on the attack as well.
Yeah, apologies if you hear a dog barking in the background. That is, of course, one of my neighbours. So I do apologise if the microphone does pick up the dog barking in the background. But of course, 27 laps await these 16 drivers. Red Matt and Knighton serving a engine penalty. Of course, as that's a Ferrari of Apex losing it on the formation lap, and that is not going to build up his confidence before getting himself underway here.
Definitely not going to build up any driver's confidence, but let's see then how quickly they can get it all back up and going. They're very close, actually, heading down into the chicane as well. But here we go. Now they're all going to be lining up, and let's try this once again.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us try it once again, as we do have everyone now taking their grid positions and taking their grid slots ready for this race. And hopefully we will be able to get straight into those 5 red lights, as Key does get disqualified for overstepping the lines. But we're going to wait, and hopefully we get the 5 red lights. And here we go. We are going to get them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Lights are out and we are underway here at Suzuka. Looks like a very good start from Oshin. Immediately moving over to the inside to cover off any potential overtaking manoeuvres. 3 wide in behind with the Mata, Senna and Lawrence through turn 1 as JM around the outside of turn 2, side by side with the Mercedes now as we come into the S's. JM versus Lawrence, wheel to wheel. The softs versus the mediums here at the opening stages. And look at Apex trying to force his way through as well. He's trying to look for a different line, trying to get a run on Lawrence, but JM successfully making that move up into P4, the championship leader.
Yeah, absolutely. Really interesting start there. Lawrence actually pinched himself to the inside there, which meant it gave JM the run to the outside line as well. Lawrence all out of shape as he now gets on the power, and he might be a bit under pressure as we head into their hairpin. Apex thinking about it, but we're going to get some moves in the background. That's going to be Cam K-Bum to the inside of Key, and Key is not going to only be passed by the Red, but he's going to be passed by the AlphaTauri as well, so he's lost the position there. But a very, very exciting start to the race.
Yeah, and here comes Key. He's trying to come back at Ali B here, as he's using his ERS to try and draw alongside, trying to look for a better run out of Spoon Curve now, and unable to do so, but he will be tucked into the slipstream using his ERS. Is he going to have a look down the inside into 130R as he moves out of the slipstream, trying to avoid going straight into the back of the AlphaTauri. He's going to look around the outside and down the inside into the Casio Triangle. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, but they both navigate that very well. And now Key under pressure from his teammate in behind of Cam Rules as we begin lap number 2. As we have a little bit of a timing glitch going on, but look at Key moving to the inside for turn number 1. As they come through a little bit on the curve there from Key, very dangerous, little bit of contact made, and look at Cam Rules trying to make this move around the outside into the S's. Bold and brave stuff, contact, and Cam Rules is around.
Cam going around trying to keep his foot in around the outside, just did not work there for him, and almost the two S's helping each other there, but it's caused a bit of a collision as Jonas all over the back of Apex as well, who's having to go defensive. That would have been really, really brave, but yeah, that got very, very close to contact as they all made their way too, and there was contact between obviously Cam Rules and Ali B, as they absolutely battled their way through, but all of them making their way through the hairpin on the second lap.
Yeah, Jonas had a little bit of a ghosting moment for me just a minute ago when I was on board with him, but Jonas and Kamke are two of the drivers where the timing delta is a little bit glitched for me, so that's probably why. As when they cross the line, it should be all sorted. And Oshin, a great start. He still holds the race lead, but he has 3 soft runners directly behind him now.
Yeah, he absolutely does. Look at Jonas to the inside of 130R, and he's going to get that move done. Apex can't really do anything there to try and fight back unless he can maybe switch from the outside to the inside, try to sell the dummy Jonas all out of shape as he got on the power. And now Apex, who might be passed by another car, because Kamke Mum is also there. If he's going to use a bit of ERS, looks like he tried to, but he's going to have to sit behind on this occasion. What about Ali B maybe thinking about one? It'll be Redham actually getting past Gaza as we head into turn number 1.
Yeah, as Ali all over the back of Speed Key once again. Of course, lap 3 now. DRS will be enabled next time we come around. The start finish straight. And in terms of the gaps now, obviously we're seeing a bit of a gap there. No, Apex is around. Apex around in the SS. Needs to be careful about rejoining here. Spins around, avoids all contact and collisions with everyone. As yeah, he has fallen all the way back to P15. As Cam Rules now has someone that he can battle with down towards the back now after both of them spinning out early in this race. As Knighton all over the back of the Specialist, not looking for a move. In fact, he's looking for it on the exit. Knighton getting good traction there, but unfortunately unable to get the second phase that he needed to make that move stick. But he's on his ERS. He's going to look to the inside of Spoon Curve. Is this going to work out well for the McLaren? Yes. Oh no! Contact in the back as Quinn gets through on Specialist as well down the inside on the exit there. A little bit of contact between Knighton. Needs to be careful about rejoining because Apex and Cam Rules is going to fly straight through as the Matter and Senna side by side at the top end. Both of these guys battling out for P2 on track as the Matter in the slipstream with DRS, and he is weaving a little bit, so I'm not sure if there was any contact between the pair of them, but the Matter weaving a little bit in a little bit of distaste as Ali B manages to get through on Speed Key and picks up a 3-second time penalty for his efforts.
Yeah, Key almost lost it on the exit as well, but Senna sending it to the inside of the chicane as well versus the Mad and they're also getting closer to Ushin as well in that little battle. But they're all making their way currently through a lot of overtaking as you expected. A lot of drama as well. A Specialist tries to get back past Quinn and Key has lost it. Key is round, so that's so unfortunate for him as Quinn tries to get past Gaza at a part of the circuit where you really can't do it around there. Single file stuff through here, and then maybe in the hairpin if he's feeling brave, and he might actually be to the outside line, and he's going to get past because Gaza was slow, and Gaza's going to try to fight back going into the hairpin. They're going to go wheel to wheel, and who's going to get on the power? Quinn with those soft compound tyres, Gaza using ERS, and they're going to continue the scrap millimeter stuff between the pair of them, but it's going to be Quinn out ahead in this little battle, and Gaza has to watch for Specialist, who's also appearing on the scene as well.
Yeah, and Specialist obviously not too far behind, has 100% ERS at his disposal. He's going to begin to use it now as both Quinn and Gaza obviously not having the same amount of ERS available to him. The Specialist now down the inside into 130R on Gazaman. Job done there for the Alfa Romeo driver. Is he going to look for another move into the Casio triangle? No, he's going to stick in behind as up towards the front. Up towards the front, we got Senna getting through with DRS on Oshin, and that has been coming as Red Map makes an early pit stop and goes into the pits at on lap 5 here.
Yeah, Specialist and Quinn still battling. A Specialist goes all the way around the outside of Quinn. The pit stop's already taking place. Remember, 2 stops mandatory, so that's not really a surprise that the drivers are getting rid of their first compound off tyre very, very early on as well, especially if you are on those softs as well. So Senna now able to take P1, and we have yellows. So is that it would have been Speed Knighton that who made that error because he's dropped down. As Gaza also gets past Quinn.
Yep, Gaza trying to get himself back up the order. Specialist, the Specialist I think has lost it. Specialist around.
He has. Yeah, he has lost it as we go side by side for the race lead momentarily, and Ushin was feeling brave to the inside, just wasn't able though to get the move done there, and he's looking race. He wants to try fight back as well, but he's going to stay in the wheel tracks for now.
Of course, Oshin's going to have the benefit of DRS on this following lap, so doesn't really want to make a move here into the Casio Triangle. Rather do it down the pit straight with the help of DRS. And locking up the rear, and he's around.
Oh, he's lost it. That's so unfortunate for the man who was running in second place, but he's struggling now to keep fifth. As Jonas is going to surely dive to the inside as well. And obviously Jonas doesn't have DRS. Oshin does, so Oshin will just be able to keep that place, but he's just got to get back on track now after that little spin. So unfortunate for him. He loses out there. So now Lawrence, highest medium runner right now as it stands.
Yeah, Lawrence doing a good job on those mediums. And of course, Oshin was in a fantastic position as well. Obviously, he is going to be going longer in this first stint than everyone else, but he will be on the 2 sets of soft tyres towards the end of this race, which of course could make the difference between him winning and losing this race. But of course that...
for Apex.
Yeah.
Apex is around.
Was that a bit of lag there on my end? I believe it was a bit of lag. I saw a car just go straight off, and I think it was Oshin that went straight off, but my God. Absolute bedlam here in Suzuka, as now we look at the race lead as Senna has around about a half a second gap to Lamada in P2, and JM just holding on to that DRS range, and he could be dropping out of it momentarily.
Yeah, absolutely could be dropping out of it. Wide for Ushin there, gonna give a bit of a run for Jonas now, and you don't always want to do it into the chicane, but he is actually going to do it. I think Ushin's going to let him through there, and I think Ushin wants the DRS rather, and he's going to probably try and mug him when we get all the way down the straight. So let's see this. And he's struggling at the chicane once again, so might not be able to do it. Let's see. He's going to probably, he's going to use a bit of ERS, but he might be a bit too far back, and probably is, as he goes onto the straight. Into the pits comes Ali B.
Yeah, as JM has lost contact with the top 2, so he's dropped out of DRS range. Now going to begin to feel the pressure from Lawrence in behind. The Mata 40% better off on his ERS than Senna right now, so the Mata is in a fantastic position.
Apex there, almost losing the car once again. Now he's diving it into the pits, and they're all really struggling right down at the chicane, I should say. All of them really struggling for grip, and Apex is retired, just not his day right now, with a lot of moments and a lot of half spins as well for him.
Yeah, not his day at all, is it, for Apex, and the Ferraris once again having a bit of a calamity here tonight in Suzuka, but the battle for the race lead is going to begin to heat up as the Mata, so much more ERS available compared to Senna. In fact, it's around 30, and the Mata beginning to use it now. So maybe listening to the stream and understanding that he does have the ERS advantage here.
Yeah, absolutely. Amado just sitting behind right now, and he knows how to control this as well. And he has obviously won races before. Into the pits comes Senna. So Senna dives it in, and I think JM is also following him as well. So pit stop time for some of the top runners, but Amado will continue on.
As will Lawrence, as will Jonas and Oshin, who just managed to get through on Jonas for P3 in this race. And of course, on those medium tyres, needs to make that move and get through as efficiently as possible. Because right now, the medium tyres, I think, are the slightly better tyres to be on.
Yeah, absolutely. Clouds still looming over this circuit right now at this stage of the race. A bit of an overcast one this one is.
Yeah, Jonas, he's struggling on his tyres, and he just understeered wide onto the grass on the through Dunlop curve, and that has lost him DRS range on Oshin, and is also bringing Cam K into the mix as well for the Red Bull Racing team. Key sets a new fastest lap with a 30.8 on a fresh set of softs. He's currently down in P15, the last of the runners so far. He's got his teammate around about 9 seconds up the road from him, which shows how bad it's gone for the Haas team here tonight. The Alfa Romeo is the only Ferrari engine powered cars to be really putting in a decent performance. Obviously Specialist up in P7 right now, and Mata in the race lead, so we'll see how this transpires. Pit stops came through. Senna on a set of the mediums. JM has gone for a set of softs once again, as Senna's all over the back of Specialist, and of course This does kind of throw my podium prediction kind of out the window because Specialist is now a full pit stop behind effectively the race leaders.
Yeah, Senna made a brave move to the inside of 130R. Specialist trying there to fight back, but he really has nothing to fight back with. Obviously, as you said, a pit stop behind, but Senna there was brave with his overtake there, and he was actually trying it into team cover as well. Was trying to be very, very late on the brace as they head into turn number 1. Specialist won't be able to do anything. Lap 9 out of 27 we are currently on, and the Mad are continuing on, and so is Jonas. Stretching their soft stint as Cam rules with a new set of softs, just like his teammate Key. They're setting fastest laps of the race.
Yeah, and of course, Cam definitely needs to be lighting these times up on the board as JM is looking at the back of Specialist here. Fresh soft tyres versus worn medium tyres. JM will be looking to make this move into the hairpin, that is for certain, as he looks to the inside, tries to outbrake the Alfa Romeo. Oh, just couldn't get alongside enough into the hairpin. And this is hurting JM here because Senna 1.5 seconds into the ahead of Specialist now, and he's pulling away.
Yeah, you've got to try and make this move as soon as possible, but it's also a very risky move to make at the same time, so it'll have to be now down this straight before 130R. He's already going to be out of the 60. This is the speedy lap. The Madder dives it into the pits, but the Madder's teammate is going to be overtaken and still yet needs to make his pit stop as JM is going to go to the inside and get that position.
Yep, JM gets that position done and dusted, but with no ERS at his disposal because he's flashing red on the rear of that car. He could be a sitting duck if Specialist wants to come back at him here, which of course Specialist does not. He understands he's not in the same race, but look at the overspeed he's going to have as Mata comes out just ahead of JM, and that shows how much time that JM lost behind Specialist here.
Yeah, absolutely. JM trying to get past the Madder, who has cold tyres obviously as well, and the Madder on mediums, JM also on the softs. Key gets 3-second time penalty, but Specialist probably might have tried to do a tiny bit of defensive work to help his teammate. It did kind of help his teammate because the Madder is ahead of JM, but what can JM do on those soft compound out tyres? The Madder's tyres will start coming into temperature at this stage now off the lap as well. On lap 10 out of 27, remember, still one more pit stop to come from all of the drivers, but as expected, the order has kind of shuffled with some drivers still yet to make their pit stop, and some drivers obviously going longer, some drivers doing the undercut, so the order usually does change quite a bit in the pit stops.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm looking at Cam K, looking at the back of Jonas right now. Red Bull versus the Williams, as Cam K just has so much more grip on those mediums right now compared to the soft tyres of Jonas, who I think will be diving into the pits any second now. And no, he stays out, so he's going to be a sitting duck here as he moves over to the inside as Cam K was going to look for the move there, but DRS is just so much over speed, and Cam K up into the final podium position.
Yeah, absolutely, getting very, very tight. What can Ali B do? Surely it'll be an easy pass. Well, that's what he'll be hoping at least. As he pulls out of the slipstream, goes to the inside line, heading down into turn 1. It is going to be an easy pass for Ali B, who does have a penalty as well in this race. So that is going to hurt him if the field was to finish very, very close at the end. Speed Knight and diving it into the pits. But Jonas will surely need to come in, but he's really stretching his soft stint, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure what the strategy is for stretching the softs this long for Jonas. I mean,
I thought I saw a split for a second of rain.
I mean, you are right. It is spitting rain out there, so the rain is here.
Right. Okay. Well, is that what you were trying to do then, Jonas?
Potentially. I mean, I think now Jonas's strategy is starting to make sense, but it's a question of how quickly does the track go to intermediates. It is starting to rain here. Lap 11 of 27. Lawrence in the race lead, under pressure now from Oshin for the race lead, as we see, I believe that's Key getting a little bit out of shape through Dunlop Curve once again. This track really testing the drivers in terms of their consistency and their ability of just navigating this circuit in its entirety. The Mata on the back of Senna, and this is a crucial moment in this race as well, because Mata and Senna both were in effectively the race lead, but with the rain beginning to fall now, Lawrence and Oshin are sitting very good starting on the set of mediums. Jonas is looking very good also on those soft tyres as well, stretching them out. The Mata closing up to the back of Senna, but not close enough to make a move, and now rolls not quite reversed, but Mata and Senna level on ERS now, so it's going to be about who has more pace between the pair of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, the Mata having 2 laps fresher tyres, so let's see how that one is gonna work out. And when I did see a bit of it, I was like, oh, well, that's just me imagining. But no, it actually did start coming down, and it is coming down. But how quickly will the track become wet? And also, Ushin versus Lawrence, as you said, perfect opportunity for them. They're looking very close on the racetrack as well. They just needed to go to Inters as soon as possible, and the Mada will also try and overtake Senna. So we're going to get quite a few moves going on, but Ushin looking very close. If you head into 130, Lawrence will surely just park it in the middle of it, because then it leaves Ushin with not really an option. Then you kind of get an option going into the chicane, but probably the best is just to stick behind, then use the DRS that comes your way in about a few meters time, and that DRS, if it rains even more, won't last too long. But Lawrence is diving it in.
Yeah, Lawrence into the pits, and this is crucial, and so is Kamke. What tyres is Lawrence going on to? And it's a set of intermediates, so I think it's a little bit too early for me in terms of going on to the Inters, but we will see. The track could change drastically any moment now.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, you could have possibly seen Jonas have to dive it in now, because his softs would be absolutely degrading at this stage. So I think Jonas would have been understandable why he decided to pit, but Kamke and Lawrence thinking it's time to make the pit stop. Remember, those are the drivers who are driving, so they might know a tiny bit better than us, but it's going to be interesting to see how it works out, being a tiny bit bold with the strategy. But if they wanted to, they could have taken their mediums a tiny bit longer, possibly even 1 lap longer, until it rains a tiny bit more and it's fully timed for the intermediate.
Well, what we're going to have to do is keep a gap on Lawrence and Specialist as he picks up a 3-second time penalty. I mean, Specialist is losing time. Let's have a look at the gap to the leader, and let's see if Lawrence is gaining on Oshin here. Doesn't look like he is gaining, so it is still better to be on the dry compounded tyres at this moment in time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yellow flags once again. I believe that is a Haas key. Yep, he's gone off the road once again, right down at the S section. He's another driver where it's just not going his way right now in this race at all. Look at the Mada as he tries to get past Senna going into 130R, but going around the outside is definitely brave. It opens up though. Can he maybe go for the move into the chicane? No, he has to stay behind. And remember, these guys are all battling over a bit of a damp circuit as the rain starts to fall down. Tricky conditions these are, and I think the Mada might try and make this move, because he knows that DRS could be disabled soon, so this could be the best chance, and he's surely going to go to the inside line. Senna's going to cover the outside, but the Mada's just going to go to the inside line. He'll easily get that place, and he's going to take 2nd position.
Yeah, and also Senna, that flash of red light on the back of that car as well, definitely obviously more indication for Mata to make that move as well down that pit straight, and up in the P2 now goes the Mata. 10.7 seconds, a gap between him and Oshin. Of course, Oshin yet to make... Oh, Oshin's gone off the track. He's had a bit of a moment. He's got damaged front wing as well through the second Degner. And that is yellow flags out, but yeah, nothing massively going on. But look at the time loss that Oshin's just had. He has to make his pit stop right now, and he's going to lose time by changing his front wing. This could be very close between himself and Mata and Senna when they come out of the pits on these Inters.
Absolutely, and I think we were both reacting to 2 different incidents as well, because Jonas tried to go around the outside but gone into the gravel and almost found them all on those intermediates, and it was just, he was very late on the brakes, heading down into turn number 1. But yeah, Key diving it in for another inches. Now what does Ushin do? Because obviously a bit of a damaged car he now has, so is he going to dive it into the pits? We are expecting him to be coming in and putting on a set of intermediates, and that's exactly what the Red Bull driver is going to do. But I have to say that was very close to hitting the pit wall as well.
Yeah, and the Mata stays out, as does Senna. And once again, this is where I'm going to keep an eye on the gap to the leader between Lawrence and Mata momentarily, because it is still dries. And Oshin has put on a set of soft tyres, so Oshin knows it's still dry tyres. So Oshin has essentially thrown away pretty much all hope of taking a race win here, because that mistake, anyone can make a mistake, and of course it goes like that. But if the rain is going to continue to fall, it is going to go to intermediates at some point, and Oshin here definitely gambling, and the gamble's not, I don't think it's going to pay off, because the wetter it's going to get, the quicker he's going to have to make that switch over to intermediates, as Quinn and Cam rules, Jonas and Key, at the back at the moment with intermediates on their car, so it's getting heavier as well.
Yeah, the rain definitely getting heavier as well. Cam also deciding to also dive it into the pits after sliding around all over the circuit, and Ushin making a pit stop at the soft, so Cam K-Bum also allowing his Red Bull teammate through as well on lap 15 of the race. But we have once again about half of the field on slicks and half on the inter, so it's going to be interesting to see which strategy does this work out.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course Redmat on the back of Lawrence now. As I mentioned, I don't think these intermediates are quite in the window at the moment. We are going to see as Redmat's he's closed up massively into the Casio triangle. All about the exit here, and he's going to get a better exit, and DRS is still activated, so there's still dry tyres. As Specialist is into the pits, he's going to put on a fresh set of inters. I believe that will be the call from the Alfa Romeo. In fact, no, he's putting a fresh set of softs.
So, interesting call then. So is it still okay to be driving around then in these conditions as well? So really interesting with how everyone's going with the strategy. Very different, I have to say, isn't it?
Well, the gap between the Mata and Lawrence has grown by almost 4 seconds since Oshin came into the pits, so that is showing that the intermediates are just not the tyre to be on at this moment in time. But the rain is getting heavier, so it's a case of when is it going to be inters, as Oshin so much more grip on those soft tyres, gets through up in the P6 now, goes the Red Bull, and he's going to be looking at Red Mat now for P5 and yellow flag, and I believe that is Cam rules off track, and Quinn as well, so both of them too, and I think Quinn has kind of let Cam back through there, so I'm thinking maybe an instant between the pair, as Oshin now looks to get this move done on Red Mat. Up into P5 goes the Red Bull racing car, and honestly he's around 18 seconds off the back of the race leader, so he's almost a pit stop behind. If there is going to be a change onto the set of inters, he has a hell of a lot of work to do to try and get himself not only a race win, but even just a podium here.
Yes, absolutely. So let's see how this one plays out. Into the pits comes Lawrence. So yeah, the inters just have not worked, and he's gone on the set of mediums.
Yeah, Key has lost it through Dunlop Curve, and he's about to be lapped by Lamata, and it's going to be lapped again by Senna in just a moment, that is for sure. Lamata has pulled a fantastic gap over Senna in this phase of the race, and it's going to allow Mata a bit of breathing room, as look at that, there's Senna getting through on Key, lapping him as well. Knighton out of this race, and it's a full course safety car. Full course safety car. Lawrence losing it in the first sector as we look for his car. There it is on the right hand side, and absolute heartbreak for Knighton. Again, I mean, just unable to get onto the points in these races, and he's one of the few drivers yet to score a point.
Yeah, absolutely. Late drama time. Safety car is out. Now, how is this one gonna go? Rain in the air. Inters possibly not being the best. Now, how does this one play out? What did the drivers go for? Because we could, because obviously the track might just become fully wet by the time the safety car ends. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. The Maddow, though, is going to dive it into the pit as well, as he tries to get it slowed down as well as he enters the pit lane. Senna will follow him in. So, interested to see what tyre is waiting for him.
It's Indus. It's got to be Indus.
Yeah.
And heartbreak, because Lawrence came into the pits just before the safety car came out and put back on the set of the dry tyres. So Lawrence has absolutely thrown away a fantastic result here. because he's come into the pits pulling a fresh set of dry tyres, and the track is getting close, if not it's on right now, intermediate conditions.
Yeah, Lawrence was just on the worst tyre at the wrong time as well, I have to say. Yeah, really, really interesting stuff with all of the different strategies as well, with what everyone is going for. Looks like Gaza has gone for self-softs as well, and Specialist putting on softs. As some drivers still believing that the softs are better, 2 of them at least, believing that still maybe the softs might be able to do it. I mean, can't blame them, going a tiny bit different, so interesting to see how this one's gonna work out for all of them.
Personally, I think that they forgot to change their tyres on the Inders.
Possibly. Yeah, possibly they could have, definitely. But at the same time, would not really be surprised if they just want to go completely different as well at the same time. But just look how wet it is gonna be getting as well. Unless they expect the rain to kind of ease off as well. I don't know why would they be going for it unless they know something that we don't in the commentary box. So let's see then. I guess we're going to get our answers when the safety car does come in, but I think surely they might be struggling a tiny bit on that first outlap as well. Getting those tyres into the temperature going to be absolutely terrible in this very damp circuit now. The rain's been coming and it's been getting heavier and heavier.
Yep. Confirmation there that everyone has made a 2-stop at the very least. So everyone's serving their pit stops in this race, and there's the tyre selections. Everyone on a set of intermediates apart from Gaza, Specialist, and you got Key coming out of the pits on a fresh set of softs. So 3 cars going for the soft tyres, and of course we got the rest of the grid on a set of intermediates. It is raining. The track looks intermediate conditions to my eye, and we're going to find out if Gaza has made a mistake, because he hasn't come back into the pits, neither the Specialist, so they're going to stick it out on the dry tyres. That's the penalty situation thus far. Ali B with a 3-second time penalty, Specialist, Lawrence, Jonas and Key also with 3-second time penalties, and that is crucial because with the safety car this late in the race, building a 3-second gap is incredibly difficult to do. And not only that, in these conditions where it is raining, it is kind of risky in terms of the track right now. Some drivers believe it's better to be on the dries, and of course some are fully confident in the inters in these conditions. Whatever happens, we are going to see carnage at the end, in my opinion.
Absolutely, we are going to be getting carnage all the way to the end in these conditions as well. And Key also putting on a set of softs. So some drivers are thinking that softs possibly are the better tyre, or it's going to dry up a tiny bit. So let's see how this one really does plan out. But we might, but obviously depends if the rain is going to ease off or if it's going to continue coming down. But it's definitely going to be a few terrible outlaps, I have to say, from the soft runners as well.
Well, I think the key thing we can look at right here to see if it's still dry tyres is, let's have a look at...
Oh, Key lost it.
I was going to say with Key, on if he was closing up to Jonas, because Jonas is 15 seconds off the back of the pack and Key is, what's called now 35 seconds off the back. So if the dry tyres are still better, Key would be catching Jonas quicker than Jonas is catching Quinn.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Look at this track. The spray's coming up now. It is 100% intermediates right here.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It definitely is now intermediates as the spray starts to come as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As I believe, Key is losing time to Jonas. So it is intermediates as Jonas goes up to the back of the pack. Specialist and Gaza refusing to come into the pits, and this is incredibly brave for those 2 individuals because this track is drenched, and trust me, I know a thing or 2 about the rain. Being from Wales, I know a wet track when I see one.
Right now, these two, first of all, well done for even keeping it going under the safety car. But let's see how it's gonna go when we do get back to green flag racing. Surely they're gonna be absolutely going very, very slowly. But I guess, is the rain gonna ease off at the end? I don't see any other reason why they would still be on the soft, because I've hit right now as well. So I don't really see any other reason for them to be on the soft. So are they just hoping that it eases, or? Yeah, gonna be really exciting though to know, because it's a bit of a weird strategy call with the amount of rain currently on the circuit. You can see how much of the rain is, so they're really gonna need it to ease off, and ease off very quickly as well.
Yeah, I mean, the track is completely wet. It is intermediates right now. That is the tire to be on, in my honest opinion. And obviously majority of the grid agree with that. The only three that have gone against it is Gaza, Specialist and Key. The only thing I can think of as a reason why Gaza and Specialist have elected to not come into the pits is they did not want to fall to the back. And for Specialist, obviously having a 3-second time penalty, if he goes to the back, he might not be able to get himself into the points again.
Yeah, absolutely. But I guess we're just going to have to see when we get to the end of the race. The safety car is coming in. We're about to get all of the answers in the next couple of laps. Grandstand finish, sprint all the way to the end.
Yeah, we'll be getting back racing once again as we begin lap 21 momentarily. Key is almost onto the back of these guys on the set of the soft tyres. He's almost to the back of them, and he does catch up and overtakes Jonas, so yeah, needs to give that position back. And I believe we got Matt getting himself underway, so Matt has already gone, and he's caught Senna absolutely napping on his restart.
He's checked out currently, and they're all making their way through. I think most of our eyes are going to go to the soft one to see how they do at the start on the safety car restart, but the matter getting the jump.
And Lawrence is getting very close to the back of Specialist, so you got to see this through turns 1 and 2. Look at this, Specialist is close up to the back of Gaza, so Specialist having a bit more confidence here than these guys, but you can see the time loss that Gaza's having to Cam K up ahead. Lawrence is going to be absolutely fuming with this right now, because he's losing so much compared to the guys up ahead. So Oshin as well, side by side with Ali for P4, and he's trying to make that move as Specialist gets through on Gaza. So as soon as we go off one battle, an overtake happens in the other battle we was watching. It is typical. Oshin now trying to look around the outside at the hairpin, not going to be able to do it. Needs to be careful because Red Matt is there, and Red Matt drawn alongside the Red Bull. He will be on the outside for the right hander, but of course if he can keep his foot in, could potentially have the inside for Spoon, but of course he does back out of that. But a little bit of a concern there for Oshin as he tried to go for an overtake and was immediately under pressure from the McLaren in behind. Specialist 3 seconds off the back of Cam K now.
Yeah, absolutely. Lawrence, if you're Lawrence and the car's behind, you're going to be absolutely mad. Here we go with Lawrence. He's going to go to the inside line. Should be an easy pass. The Specialist cannot do anything there as well. Cam Rules is going to try. Now fight his way past as well, possibly to the inside line. Does he dive to the inside? Yes. He'll be late on the brakes, and it's going to be close with Gaza, and he's going to have to go the long way around, use a bit of the curb on the exit as well, and he's fought his way past. Quinn now is also going to get past one, and he might eye up two as well, because Cam is going to be there, and they're actually going to battle it out, going down into turn number one. So Quinn is trying to pull off two moves there in a matter of meters into turn one. That's going to be tight. Cam Rules is going to be wide. Quinn's going to take that place. So will Jonas. He's going to be up to 11. So much action though, all on that restart, and Gaza coming into the pits.
Yeah, Gaza making the correct decision to come into the pit. Should have done it under the safety car, in my opinion. He's on a fresh set of softs again. Gaza's come out on fresh softs again in these conditions. So Gaza really throwing
Did he forget again? Did he forget again or something?
I think he must have. But yeah, the battle now for P10. Effectively, he's going to become the battle for P9 because Specialist is falling back to these guys quite considerably. Lawrence in a bit of a no man's land right now. He's 3 seconds off the back of any of the cars in front of him, and he's nearly 3 seconds ahead of the Specialist. That's how quickly he can pull away on these Inders. And if you're Quinn and Cam, ideally, getting past Specialist as soon as possible is the goal here. Of course, Specialist, Quinn and Cam Rules, all former teammates in RDR, all now driving completely now outside of the RDR. So I think with these three, because they know each other so well, they are going to try to prove to themselves that they are better than them. Front wing off! Front wing off! Was that front wing from Quinn? I just seen him fly off. Oh no! Sorry, it's Cam. Cam's got no. Cam's lost a bit of a front wing, so Cam Rules into the pits.
Yep, he's diving it in. Key getting past Gaza, who's going super slow on the racetrack. Specialist as well, battling away momentarily with Jonas and Quinn. And now Jonas and Quinn are going wheel to wheel. Quinn keeps his foot into the inside, and he will keep that position as these guys are getting stuck behind soft runners. Jonas still putting the pressure on Quinn, who's off the racing line, and that might open the door for Jonas to go the long way around, and he'll become the outside to the inside. But Quinn still doesn't want to give it up. Oh, he's into the gravel. Oh, he's into the gravel and into the wall. So unfortunate for Quinn. Tries to keep it. Safety car out once again.
Yeah, and what I was going to say as well, I mean, I was on board with the battle for P4 as Ali B and Oshin were really battling side by side through there then. Ali B, I think, was still ahead of Oshin before the safety car came out, but the game has allowed Oshin to retake P4, so maybe I was mistaken on that. But my God, a late safety car in this race, and if you are Quinn, if you are Cam, if you are Gaza, man, right now, we've had horrible restarts in terms of that last safety car. You are sitting very pretty right now because Specialist has to pit. There's no way Specialist is going to stay out in those softs. He has to pit. He has to get on a set of Inters. But with the likes of Quinn, Cam Rules and Gaza not having any penalties, they could jump up 5 positions all in all in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. If you thought the last safety car was late, what about this one? Absolutely. Incredible stuff. Redmat in, Lawrence in, and surely we're going to see Specialist in as well. There we go. And I should be seeing the green wall of intermediate Specialist trying to get it slowed down and and the game having to reset him back in a straight line.
Well, hopefully we're going to see the green tyres come out here for Specialist, and yes, we do. So everyone now finally on the correct tyre. And what we have right here, ladies and gentlemen, is all the ingredients for a very dramatic ending. Because we have the Mata. He's been absolutely dominant in this race. Since getting into the race lead, he hasn't looked back. He has built gaps left, right and centre. He definitely has the pace over Senna in this race. You got JM, the championship leader, currently in P3. He's going to be under pressure from Oshin. Because I think Oshin, in terms of pace around here, has shown a little bit more than JM. Ali, obviously, is right there, ready to help JM. He's ready to help his teammate out. So Oshin in a little bit of a sandwich. But of course, you got Cam K also in there as well. So you have the two sister teams in Red Bull and AlphaTauri about to do battle as they are checkerboarded from 3rd down to 6th. Let's see how that goes on. Jonas currently in P7. He's trying to recover as much as possible in this race, but what he has now is everyone behind him on fresh intermediate tyres, and that is the key thing here, the fresh inters. How good are they going to be against these 6-lap worn intermediate tyres? How good are these fresh inters going to be? Will we see Redmat manage to get his way up to battling the likes of JM and Oshin? That's going to be the question, pardon me.
Absolutely. So many questions. Looks like we're going to be getting a 2-lap sprint all the way to the end as well. So it's going to be an absolutely ultra super sprint as well. And absolutely incredible. We've been left with a brilliant scenario here with the top 7 with 7-lap-old intermediate. The drivers behind, all with fresher intermediate. Key does have a 4-lap-old intermediate, but still, that is better than some of these 7-lap in old intermediate as well. So the old intermediates, but he is going to be up against the drivers who are absolutely fresh as well. And so going to be really, this restart, 2 laps, Everyone's going to be going for moves left, right, centre. Action is guaranteed at this restart. You're going to have, obviously, the drivers with fresher inters absolutely on the attack. And then you're going to have the drivers on the older inters absolutely on the defence. And this is just going to be a fantastic finish.
And also you got drivers trying to avoid picking up any time penalties now, because while we have 5 drivers with time penalties to their name, the rest of the grid do not have time penalties. So one time penalty from anyone else in this grid is going to be massively detrimental to their finishing results. As I mean, Ali right now, even though he's in P5 on track and probably deserves a top 10 finish, might not even get in the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what happens when you do have a safety car restart like this. If you did pick up a penalty, it's very, very costly because the whole field is going to be bunched up together, and most likely any of the drivers with penalties, unless there's a lot of chaos, will not be finishing in that top 10 with how close it's going to be. So they're really going to be losing out with that penalty.
Yep, safety car should be in at the end of this lap, so currently on board with Senna. Hopefully he'll be wanting a better restart this time, because the Mata absolutely left him for dust on the last restart. Senna definitely needs to be a bit more alert this time around. Of course, guys, just wanted to let you know, obviously 2 laps remaining here in P2, but also to let you know that P1 is currently going on right now on the Twitch channel. Of course, Jess and Steve, I believe, taking you through the action there. Yep, Jess and Steve taking you through the action in P1. They would have just got underway in their race, so make sure you guys go over and show them a bunch of love as well after we conclude here in P2. But the Mata going to be getting us underway. It's a 2-lap sprint as we get racing once again in Suzuka, and the Mata is leaving it very late to go. Very late indeed, and everyone's getting bunched up, and the Mata has gone now.
Yeah, the Mad is gone, and they're all going to be following now in the system as well. Who is going to be able to make some moves?
Jonas.
Ali B got with the restart. Jonas making a move.
Red Mat through as well, and those fresh inders down the inside of Cam K. He's down the inside of Jonas as well through turn 2. There you go. As Red Mat trying to get through, and up Yoda, you got Oshin looking at the back of JM here. Absolute, this carnage going left, right and centre. It's hard to keep up with everything. Look at this, Key and Specialist side by side through the S's on the intermediates, as so is Red Mat and Jonas. I am struggling to keep up with absolutely everything that's going on right now, but Red Mat up into P6 on a fresh set of inders. Could Red Mat be looking at a race win here? Look at this, JM and Oshin. They're scrapping out. Matt has gone wide for the second Degner. He's lost the race lead. He's down to P4, maybe P5, maybe P6 as Red Mat around the outside. As we go into the hairpin, little bit of contact between the teammates of the AlphaTauri, and that's caused absolute carnage here. As now, JM obviously holds on to P4, but Red Mat there. Oh, carnage! As I believe Cam K and Ali B coming together there. The sister teammates doing battle, and is absolutely completely gone out the window here. As look at this now, Red Mat, he's down behind Specialist, and he's got Cam Rules in behind him as well. These guys are potentially battling for a top 5 finish, as the Mata looks to be a little bit out of shape, maybe a bit of wing damage on that Alfa Romeo. But meanwhile, the battle for the race lead as we come onto the final lap is between Oshin and Senna. Senna's lost it. Senna's lost it for the final corner. Senna is around as you got Red Mat and Specialist there side by side running down in towards turn number 1. And will Red Mat look for a move on Jonas here? Down the inside he'll go. Senna's retired from the race. A heartbreak there for Senna right at the end, as Cam Rules is now up into P7. In fact, he's going to be battling with Specialist. A little bit of contact between the pair of them, and Cam Rules up into P7 as Red Mat all over the back of Jonas here for P5 in this race. Meanwhile, up at the front, Oshin has pulled a 1 second gap to the Mata. The Mata is holding on to P2 right now, but he has JM and Lawrence directly in behind. And look at Lawrence, fantastic exit from the Mercedes driver as he looks to try and make a move on the AlphaTauri around the outside at the hairpin. And we are going to see if this is going to work out for him, as Jonas still holding on. Look at Cam Rules now. Cam trying to get a move done on Red Mat. Red Mat at the better traction coming out of the hairpin. Fantastic stuff going on here as Red Mat now looking for a move on Jonas around the outside. Oh, Spoon. Jonas going to settle down not trying to make any moves at the end here. And oh, a little bit of tap there as Cam hits the back of Jonas. Jonas into the wall. That, I believe, will be looked at later. As look at Lawrence now. Going to go clean around the outside of JM into 130R. As now Oshin through the Castillo triangle. He has the Mata directly behind him. Can the Mata get the run that he needs? No, he cannot. That one mistake from the Mata cost him victory here as Oshin collects victory. Back-to-back wins for Oshin. The championship leader in JM comes through and takes P3. Red Mat in P4. Cam rules P5. Lawrence loses out on P5 by 600ths of a second. He comes through in P6. Gazaman in 7th. Specialist in 8th. And we'll run you through the rest of the order in just a moment. But my God, what an end to that race.
What an end indeed. Action all the way throughout. The only way we could describe it to you there. It was absolutely phenomenal. You had drivers getting boxed in absolutely left, right, centre. So much happened on that last lap, especially on the restart lap as well. There was just so much going on. There was cars absolutely everywhere on the road, and 2 of our leaders also binning it on the last 2 laps as well. So a lot of drama all the way to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. The Mata make a mistake into the second Degner. Running deep onto the gravel cost him the race lead and definitely cost him a race win in my opinion. And then of course we saw Senna take the lead then, and he lost it coming through the final corner, comes into the pits and retires. And yeah, I mean, absolute carnage at the end. Everyone getting a little bit desperate, trying to make these overtakes happen, trying to get the best results possible. But we're going to run you through the order one more time. So it is Oshin who takes victory ahead of the Mata, who comes home in second place. JM completes the podium, the championship leader back again on the podium. Red Mat currently in P4 with Cam Rules in P5 with the fastest lap. But that little instant he had where he tapped the back of Jonas may get investigated. We don't know. Lawrence in P6 as Gazaman is in 7th, with 8th going to Specialist, 9th going to Speaky, and Quinn rounding out the top 10. And then of course Jonas in 11th and Cam K Mum in 12th after the contact with Ali B. Ali B comes home in 13th, and our non-finishers included Senna, Knighton and Apex. And honestly, absolute absolute carnage at the end, and everyone getting a little bit too desperate in my opinion. But it's one of those things in there where it's wet conditions, and you know, you got penalties on the line, you got podiums, race wins on the line. One mistake can cause an absolute carnage in behind that, and that's exactly what we saw. One person make a mistake and they cause an absolute mayhem in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. One little mistake, and there were so many drivers everywhere as well, trying to take advantage, and then them getting involved in contact. An absolutely spectacular mess it was. But I really did enjoy those last few laps, and that's what safety cars give us at the end. Yes, obviously, now personally, I really love when we get safety cars. It just gets everyone on, whether it's the dry, whether it's the wet, it just gets everyone on. There'll be some drivers who decide to go on the fresh tyres and go to the back. You have some drivers trying to hold a position right at the front of the field, and that was just fabulous once again. The drivers with fresher tyres on the attack, and then also some of our leaders also having some big mistakes as well, which cost them quite a bit. So I don't even know what to say after that race. That was fantastic.
Yeah, and obviously with that, we're going to pick our driver of the days now. So I'm going to go to you first for your driver of the day.
This is gonna be a really hard one. I do not even know who to go for this time around. It's probably gonna take a tiny bit of thinking, this one, because honestly that was absolutely mega on this last lap. I'm trying to look at all of my options as well, because that last lap was completely extraordinary right at the end. So it's really a hard one. I don't even know who to go for in this one as well, and I'm trying my best to quickly get the results up as well, because my memory's completely gone after the action we got in that one. But I'm gonna give it to Red Mat.
Red Matt. Okay, so what will your question be for Red Matt?
I need to think about the question, so I might need you to quickly go first with your driver of the day and question as well. Because honestly, I didn't even know who to actually pick, so I need to now think of a question for him.
So, my driver of the day is going to be going to the Mata, and obviously my question for the Mata is a fantastic race, fantastic strategy throughout it. It looked like you had it all in the bag until that one mistake at the end. How heartbreaking is it to lose it right at the end by making the only mistake in that race? And obviously, how do you look to bounce back from this now going into next week?
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be interesting to hear what he responds to that. But my question to Red Matt would be, do you think there was more on the table? Because obviously he started lower down, finished very, very highly as well. So my question to him would be, do you think there was anything more you could have done or anything more on the table that could have got you a podium at the end? Nice and simple question as well for him.
Yeah, very simple question as well. But of course, before we wrap things up, once again, your massive shout out to our sponsors, Next Level Racing, obviously to Aztec and Pure Sim Gear, and of course the Mystery Sim Box, and of course to our partners at Vespertwin, our partners at ERT, and of course Sim Grid as well. Looking at the calendar, obviously next week we have the second sprint race of the season, and an interesting race to go to next week. We are going to Las Vegas. Now, I don't know how much experience you have on Las Vegas, but experience I have at Las Vegas, and I it's not a good, like, for me, not an enjoyable one for me.
Well, it'll be my first one. So gonna be exciting to see what actually happens. Now, I do hope we'll get a lot of action, but it's gonna be interesting to see. But anyway, make sure you join us next week. Make sure you still join us, doesn't matter if it's Las Vegas. I'm sure there'll be some kind of drama and action that all of you will enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, with that, we're going to wrap things up here tonight. So massive congratulations to the podium finishers. And thank you all for joining us. Make sure you tune in to P1, which is currently underway on the Twitch channel. Of course, being broadcasted and commentated over by Jess and Steve. So make sure you go over there and show them a bunch of love. And also check out the P3 stream that was on earlier tonight. But until next week, guys, I've been Mike. He has been Omicoms. And we'll see you next week for round number 6 as we go to Sin City.